Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with the wrap-up video for our Playing on a Budget with our Boss Sly deck. This was a incredible showing, a 4-0 finish. I mean, and all those decks that we faced were probably a lot more expensive. Just a few cards in there. I mean, two of those fetch lands are the entire price tag of this deck. And besides even the I think Stoke the Flames is our most expensive card in this deck. If you take those out, then we're down to an incredible budget. So I guess we can look at this list here. Oops, see, we sort by. And the cards that I didn't quite like in this, I don't know how I feel about the Arena Athlete. And I'm kind of thinking I want more of the Titan Strengths. I don't know. See, Arena Athlete's good if you actually have cards like Titan Strengths. And a cool thing about Arena Athlete is you can actually Hammerhand it and make two things not block. And that's happened against me before playing against the deck. And so I think that one of Arena Athlete is pretty good. I don't know if you need so many Frenzied Goblins if we go so many if we have an Arena Athlete, maybe two Frenzied Goblins, one Arena Athlete. But I mean the list is just solid. The only thing that would change is really the sideboard. I'm liking the Harness by Force. I think that going to a 2-of Harness by Force is pretty decent. The Arc Lightning, again, we didn't see any mirrors, but in the mirror, Arc Lightning and Searing Blood are incredibly strong, as well as Magma Jet's a very versatile card. It's good against many matchups, but those three matchups that we face against, I didn't see Magma Jet or Lightning Strike really being good. So I'm thinking we could find a better use of our sideboard. Maybe like Peak Eruption for those Mardu matchups to destroy their mountains. And what can happen is you can Peak Eruption before they can actually cast the Anger of Gods and shut them out of that double red source, and it's very hard for them to come back. I'm thinking if Forge Devil still wants to be in for the mirror match. And yeah, I'm loving the 4 of Coordinated Assaults, the 4 of Hammerhands, and the 4 of Dragon's Mantle. I think those are by far the best spells in the deck. And as far as creatures, the only creatures that I would flex on would be the Frenzied Goblins and the Arena Athlete. I've heard of like Mogus Marauder being, or not Mogus, Mogus Hound. Let's see what it's called. It's going to be a Warhound. I've heard of Warhounds being in here before. Is a 2/2 and you can bestow it again on your Crusader, makes it pretty good. With the Foundry Denizen, if you bestow it on third turn on a Crusader, you're getting that additional one guy that's coming into play, and then you're making the cool thing about this is it's making your Crusader bigger than a Drown in Sorrow, and if they do somehow kill your Crusader, then you still get a Warhound out of the deal. So I've seen that guy. He's seen some play before. I've actually seen people use the Spider-Mogus as well in the sideboard, as it can easily get up to number of instances or sorceries. It only deals damage to creatures, but you do get a Scry as well. But sometimes this gets big enough to take out Coursers, or like Anafenzas, or maybe even a Rhino if you have enough cards in the graveyard, because the Coordinated Assaults are going to the graveyard, the Titan Strengths are going to the graveyard, the Stoke the Flames. But if you were to use Spite of Mogus, I think you need to go up in the instant and sorcery count. I've seen people use Prophetic Flamespeaker in this deck. We'll show him. But I don't know if with 18 lands, if Prophetic Flamespeaker actually wants to be in this deck. And the cool thing about this, though, is if you go up more into Titan Strengths with Prophetic Flamespeaker, the double strike and trample with just a Titan Strength is hitting for 8 damage. Plus, this guy's pretty sweet of being able to draw or exile cards. You can play them this turn, but usually with 1 mana stuff, it'll be putting out more creatures. Or if you hit into like a Stoke the Flame, it's pretty decent. I'm not sure if I'd want this a 3-drop. I'm starting to feel the same way about Rabblemaster. I'm thinking that Rabblemaster is just too slow for this deck. A 3-drop just doesn't do enough. And maybe Rabblemaster could sure be in the sideboard. In fact, I would think about against certain matchups, especially the Abzan, is you don't want the Firedrinker Satyr a lot of times, because when it becomes a life race, they have life gain, they can actually race you if you have Firedrinker Satyrs and they block with like a Rhino on your Firedrinker Satyr, you're losing 4 and a dude, and then on the backswing, a lot of times they can just kill you. You've already lost life from the Rhino coming into play. So I'm thinking that Rabble Masters, once you do decide to upgrade this deck, the Rabble Masters have a place in the sideboard, and you bring out Firedrinker Satyrs and bring in Rabble Masters or Prophetic Flame Speakers or something along those lines, maybe the Mogus Marauder, that, you know, doesn't kill you in the process. So, very, very good deck. Again, it had two in the semifinals actually played each other. So, a third place and a second place finish for the mono red boss slide decks at GP Los Angeles. And a lot of the commentary at Los Angeles, like, well, maybe they didn't steal enough Abzan decks. Maybe they got lucky. Maybe blah, 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 blah. We just saw this pretty much manhandle the Abzan deck and the Sultai deck that both have pretty significant life gain, as well as that Mardu that has a lot of significant life gain through, I'm sure a Johnny's in that deck, or Sorin. Sorin just making anything lifelink is very significant. So let me know what you'd make, if there's any changes you'd make to this deck, if there's any cards I forgot about. I've seen people use like Rouse the Mob. I've seen Blinding. There's like a heroic card for red, and you can target as many things for an additional red, not be able to block. But it just seems redundant in a deck that already has a lot of ways to make stuff not block. And I'm sure there's some cards that I'm missing, though, that would go great in a deck like this. Again, Magma Sprays I've seen in the sideboard in these type of lists as well. And Hall of Triumph, Hordling Outburst, things like that. Again, let me know what you think in the comments, how you enjoyed this match. Again, next week we will have a special playing on a budget. It's going to actually coincide with a thing I'm going to be releasing on the Rogue Deck Builder YouTube account. It's going to be brewing around a certain card. We're actually going to be starting a thing called the Rogue Master Brewer, which will be either bi-monthly or monthly. I'm going to pick a card for people to brew around, and if you're successful with that, we'll have a prize. So definitely go check that out, YouTube/Rogue Deck Builder. I won't spoil the card so far. You can check my channel. I've spoiled the card there, but it's going to be about a week out before we actually get all the details of that contest going. But for next week's Play on a Budget, I will be using the card that we will be brewing around on the Rogue Deck Builder. Anyway, this has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.